Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I thought I'd do a quick video here just in praise of the Haskap because this is my first year where I've gotten a decent harvest off of these, and these are wonderful. So let me just show you what this is a Haskap berry bush. I think it's 3 years old. I'll check my records to see when I planted these. I bought them as a bare root plant. I ordered them from a place in Ontario. I live in Nova Scotia. So the place is called Whiffletree Farms. So it just comes in a box wrapped in some sawdust sort of thing. And I stuck them in the ground. I think it was in around April or May. And that was about 3 years ago, I think. And now I've got these wonderful bushes. I've never pruned these or done anything. I've just sort of left them alone. At some point I think they will need pruning. But it's always good advice with new plants to not really prune them for a few years. Just let them figure themselves out, sort of thing. That advice was given to me by a skilled, seasoned, trained arborist. So, because I used to prune them the minute I put them in the ground. You know, the leaves are the means to gather energy from the sun, so why would you take some of that away? There is a point in the development of a plant, oh, just as a horse fly at me here. There is a point at the development of a plant where pruning helps, but not when they've got very little foliage. Anyway, so I've harvested this a few times, and it's starting to wind down, but you can see there's still berries on it, right? So for those that don't know, I mean, I planted these because I heard they were a superfood, and that they were good for you. I'd never tried them before. I never had them, and they looked like blueberries, and the plants looked nice, and they are a really healthy, robust, low maintenance plant. If you've never had them before, and I mean, people are going to differ on this, but for me, to eat them raw, they have a kind of sharp taste. Let me just grab one here. And people are going to disagree with me. I mean, no matter what the food is, people always say it tastes good no matter what it is. I've heard lots of people say dandelion greens taste great. I think they taste like poison. I've picked them at various times of the year. I've picked them when it's recommended to pick them. I've even got cultivars that are grown for their flavor, and they still taste like poison to me. Some people are just more sensitive than others, so I cook my dandelion greens. Anyway, I'm going to stick this in my mouth here. And yeah, it's hard to describe the taste. It's something between a blueberry and a grape, I would say. And it's kind of tart. Tart would be the word I would give. So they're not, to me, an eating fruit like strawberries, right? They're just so good you just want to eat them all, right, before you do anything with them. These are a jam fruit to me. And I tried out making jam with them. I did a cooked jam, and they are fantastic. The closest thing what the jam reminds me of, and I might do a video on how to make this, but lingonberry is something like that. It's got that tartness, dark purple, deep purple color to the jam, and like a lingonberry jam. And I like tart jams like that, right? So that's what I'd say their value is, which is great because that means you can pick them, make your jam, jar it up, and enjoy them all year long if you have enough of them, right? So I've got 3 bushes. I've got this one here, which I said is this one must get the best sun or the best something, because it's the biggest. But it's starting to wind down. But I'm just trying to harvest some today before the horseflies get too bad. This one over here is not quite as big, and the berries aren't as fat, and I'm not quite sure why. I know it's getting impeded by this god-awful weed here, right? Maybe it's a bit too close to the fence. Maybe it should be out a bit. You never know with these things. I may have planted it too close to the fence, right? Anyway, it's still producing. It's just not as productive. And I got one over here that I moved in April from a different spot. So it was really healthy and really doing well. But the place I had it was just not the right place. There's lots of videos on that. Location. So I had to move it. I had to move it to make room for another plant that I was putting in that space. Right, the space it was in was a great place for the Haskap. Anyway, you can see that it's kind of weird looking, and the leaves have an unhealthy color, and you know, the berries are few and far between, and they're smallish. But that's just because I moved it in the spring. Nothing likes being moved. I think I did a pretty good job of moving it, but it was hasty. And I mean, if you take, you know, a one cubic foot root ball with a plant when you move it, there's still all kinds of roots that get cut off when you do that, right? So you're reducing the plant's ability to draw up moisture and nutrients from the ground. It's going to harm the plant. But it'll spend a year or two recovering, and then it'll start producing again, assuming I can keep all this foliage out of the way. Anyway, for those considering the Haskap, I would say yes, definitely buy some. Understand that it's going to take about 3 years. This is the first year they've been productive, and I think it's 3 years from planting. So understand it's going to take a few years for them to be productive. Don't muck around with pruning them or anything like that. Just leave them alone. At some point they will need pruning. I'm not quite sure what that point is, but at some point they do need it. Maybe year 4, year 5, that sort of thing. And really, when they always say, you know, you should prune a plant so that a bird can fly through it. They say you should prune an apple tree so that a cat can be thrown through it. Just throw a cat through it. But anyway, prune it so a bird can fly through it. It kind of looks like a bird could get through this right now. Not so thick. There's a point where plants get so thick in the foliage that sunlight and air and stuff like that can't really breathe through the plant. And the result is that the fruit can suffer as a result from that, either through pest damage or various infections or fungi and that sort of thing. But yeah, these are a great plant. You know, maybe don't do what I did, where I planted them before I even tried. Never eaten a Haskap. This year is the first year I've tried them. Last year I got some, but birds got, there wasn't enough to do anything with anyway. But I put off harvesting them for a couple days, and birds got them all. Birds will get at these. I don't know why they haven't gotten at them this year. I see them out here, but maybe they're just going for the ones on the ground because they're easier to get at. I don't know. But yeah, just bear in mind that, you know, I mean, unless you're one of these people that can just eat anything, they're not a sweet, you know, put on top of your, you know, like a strawberry. You know, strawberry is an unbelievably sweet, tasty fruit. They're not like that. They're kind of sharp. They're a bit tart, and to me, they're best in cooked. They probably make a good pie if you had enough sugar in with it. And when you make these with jam, it's about equal parts crushed berry and fruit, right? So you're adding a lot of sugar. And there's some berries that need even more sugar than that, right? But for a good sort of tart jam, about equal parts sugar and crushed berry, it makes a pretty good jam. I got 3 bushes, and this is the most productive one. I'd say about 80% of the berries I've harvested this year are from this bush, believe it or not. I've harvested enough to make about 2 liters of jam. So that's about 2 of those quart jars, mason jars, or 4 of those pint jars, or 8 of those, whatever those are, half pint jars, I guess, the smaller jars. There's a lot of talk about these being a superfood, that sort of thing. They're kind of a popular thing right now. I find like every 5 or 10 years, there's some new berry that's the berry. If you eat that, you're going to live to be 200 years old and disease-free, and you're going to be doing jumping jacks when you're 100. I mean, that's rubbish. You all know that's rubbish. You know, I don't talk about, you know, what the healthy food is. I think everything that comes out of my garden is good for me. Because if you look at if you go to the USDA, there's a website they've got there where you can look at the nutritional value of things. Everything's got all kinds of good stuff in it. Even potatoes, very good for you, very healthy. I've even done a video, I think, or at least a podcast, or maybe I wrote an article on potatoes. They're very good for you. Right? Everything out of the garden is good for you. Have a healthy life, have a healthy diet, you know, stay active, and you're probably going to be healthy. Right? That's the best advice I can give. Haskap berry. Can't see enough about it. Beautiful, beautiful fruit. You know, it might even be a good ornamental plant to have like as a bush, because I don't know how big they get, but I mean, look how big they are already. So it might be a good, if you're thinking of like, you know, a few bushes. Why not plant on your front lawn? Why not plant a couple of these? They're a beautiful looking bush. They're nice when they flower out, but you get this great fruit that for me makes a great jam or spread or compote or whatever you're into. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. Check out my weekly column at maritimegardening.substack.com. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Hey folks, if you live in the USA and want to help support the channel, check out the Hudson Valley Seed Company and use my coupon code MARITIME10 to get a 10% discount on whatever you buy. In addition, all seed orders over $35 will get free shipping. They have a great selection of seeds, so maybe give that a try this year, and that'll help support everything I'm doing here. Thanks a lot.